Hey y'all, Matt here with another Bible study video, and today we're attempting to answer this question using Disney references again. What is a ziggurat? And if you've never heard of a ziggurat, that's probably because that word really isn't in the Bible, but what we think may be a ziggurat is in the Bible. But how does that relate to Disney? Well, we'll get to that in a second, but if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel, share it with your friends so we can reach more people. So what in the world does Disney's park Epcot have to do with a ziggurat? Basically, as we were walking through the World Showcase in Disney, we walked through the Mexico Pavilion, and if you're not familiar with Epcot and the World Showcase, as you walk through, each country that's represented has stuff that's authentic to the culture of that country. And so it's no surprise that, the Mayan Empire, Aztecs, cultures like this are very famous and important to the culture in Mexico. And so one of the things that's showcased as you enter Mexico is an Aztec temple. And this temple, it's huge, it's beautiful. It's very obvious when you get in there that it's like nothing that we see today. But when I saw it, I was immediately reminded of the Tower of Babel in Genesis chapter 11, verses 1 through 9. And what happened in this chapter was basically people set out to build a great city with a large temple or a tower in the middle, and scripture says that they did this with the intent of making a name for themselves, making themselves famous, making themselves great. And this city would eventually be a great city. It would be one of the enemies of Israel, the city of Babylon. A lot of sin and evil things took place in this city. But when we look at this actual story of the Tower of Babel, one of the things that's kind of cool about it that kind of helps us understand a little bit about what's going on is the fact that this city or this temple that they set to build out, most scholars today believe it's some type of a ziggurat. And a ziggurat is basically an ancient temple, basically like this Aztec temple we see portrayed in Mexico in the Epcot Pavilion. They're very similar, not completely the same, but very similar. Most scholars believe that this temple that was built in the city of Babel, or the Tower of Babel, was built to the Mesopotamian god Marduk, and that is why God was not pleased with this. Some of these ziggurats got up to 300 foot tall, and not many of them exist today. Most of what we have today that remains of some of these towers in some countries are basically ruins. And a lot of that is because of how they were built. They were actually built with sun-dried mud and straw bricks, and they were held together with a ancient mortar. And so it makes sense how if they're mud straw bricks that over time they would erode and decay. But the fact that they built some of them up to 300 foot tall is just insane with the technology that they didn't have back then that they have today. And for reference, Cinderella's castle and Cinderella's castle is just under 200 foot. These ziggurats, they would have had a stairway, which we see on this temple in Mexico at the World Showcase, and it would ascend up to the top of the structure where the actual temple and the shrine would sit to whatever god they built it to worship. In verse 3, many think that the type of structure that was built in the Tower of Babel was actually a ziggurat because of this process of building these temples with this dried brick and straw mixture. It's very clear in scripture in verse 3 that this is the type of brick and mortar that they're going to use. And so this is one of the reasons why a lot of scholars today believe that a ziggurat is the actual type of tower that was built in the Tower of Babel. And the reason why God destroyed it, why he stopped their efforts, why he didn't like that, was because, of course, they were trying to make a name for themselves. They weren't trying to worship the God Yahweh like they're supposed to. They were building a tower for another god, possibly Marduk, who is the Babylonian god, and they were trying to glorify themselves in doing that too. They were trying to please this god that they didn't know how to please, and so they thought that this would be a great way to do it. And this is why God ended up basically scattering the people, confusing their languages, and this is why the story of the Tower of Babel is so famous today. But I hope this video has been beneficial. I hope the reference helps to kind of put some visual to what this ziggurat might have looked like and what they are. If you have any other topics you'd like to see me hit in future videos, please email me, text me. If you'd like a study Bible, Three Strands Ministry is a big part of our ministry, is putting Bibles in people's hands for free. Please email me, text me. If you're local, I'll get you a Bible. It costs nothing. If you want to give one to a friend or start a Bible study, let me know. I'll see what I can do to help you out. I'd love to do that for you. But until the next video, I love you guys. Blessings.